everyone. Thank you so much for your patience, having some technical difficulties with the Zoom room. We're so glad to have you all here. Thank you so much. My name is Amickoleh Imani, and I am the founder and the host of this beautiful conversation, Soul Nourishing Boundaries. And this year our theme is choosing reciprocity and self-devotion. And this is being brought to you by On The Cusp Wellness, which I am the founder of. I'm a transformational soul guide, energy healer, energetic medicine educator, creative artist, photographer, singer-songwriter, all the things, creative freelancer. And I really have just come into the awareness that my biggest mission, purpose on this life is just to be in expression with my soul's truth and medicine, and that comes in through a lot of different mediums and modalities, and I'm learning to be at peace with that and okay with that. And with that comes our topic for today, boundaries, and making sure that the things that we are choosing to put our energy into feel reciprocal, feel nourishing, feel supportive, right? And so it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this conversation, because when I first came into my soul's awakening, that was the one thing that was like very obvious to me, that became very obvious to me, I'll say, was, oh wow, like I'm experiencing or feeling this way about certain people or being in these certain dynamics because I didn't have any boundaries around this situation, or I had built up such a wall and such a barrier that nothing was able to come through. So it was causing isolation. It was causing these different experiences that I didn't have the languaging for. And so when I started learning more about boundaries, and we're going to talk about boundaries from work, relationship, energetic boundaries, emotional, all the things, because they all play into each other. But it was one of the first areas in my life that I really started to overhaul as I became more and more awakened spiritually, as I became just more aware of just being a very highly sensitive person, and also just being naturally in tuned with very subtle things and nuances that happen in the day-to-day that most people are just kind of like glaze over, that don't really faze them as much. But I had to get an understanding of how do I support myself so that way I'm not always feeling these feelings, or I'm not always absorbing everything around me. And so boundaries became a really big tool for me. And then I just love bringing this into a more open forum and having a conversation around it, because I think it's really good to hear from other people how they navigate boundaries and what that looks like for them, what tools and resources that they utilize, what languaging even that they utilize around certain conversations or experiences. So yeah, and then of course, all of you all who are joining us, thank you so much for being here. Please feel free to also chime in and jump in. And, we have the chat here, so feel free to use the chat, or if something is feeling really resonant for you and maybe you need a bit more of expansion or explanation around that, feel free to raise your hand as well. Making sure I'm recording this. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Now I'm going to have our lovely panelists here introduce themselves. But first, I have a little snippet of each of their bios that I'll read, so just so you all have an understanding of who we have here today, these beautiful ladies that I have up here with me. And then I want to also invite them to share, to expand even more about their work and how they are navigating or moving through it today. So first we have Arianna Apparicio. So Arianna Apparicio is a spiritual philosopher, alignment theologian, and the founder and CEO of Already Aligned by Design, a modern school of spiritual philosophy dedicated to remembrance, identity, and the evolution of human consciousness. And we also have Safia Pulliam, who's a wellness coach, sound healer, and mindful movement instructor. So Safia guides clients toward deeper self-care, balance, and joy. Her approach blends beauty, mindfulness, and healing practices to create spaces where women can feel nurtured, empowered, and seen. So thank you so much, ladies, for being here. Arianna, I'll give it to you. If there's anything else that you'd like to expand about you and your work, please feel free to share that with us.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. So yes, my name is Arianna Apparicio. I also go by Coach Apparicio. I started Already Aligned by Design with a mission to empower individuals to remember their purpose, reclaim their identity, and realign their life to match that purpose. We do see a vision at Already Aligned by Design as a philosophical school of spirituality, to see people be empowered in their leadership through alignment and through their purpose, because it's our belief that the more aligned people are, is the more aligned the world is as a whole. So that's what led me to do what I do. I've done it for 10 plus years now in leadership, and coming off of financial background. I was an accountant and had my own accounting company for 15 years. So yeah, I'm adjusting to the pivot, but we've had a brilliant start to the school. We've had such amazing success, and we're just grateful for all the people who have come to us, given us our trust, given us their trust. And yeah, we just continue to go forward with human evolution and joining consciousness together.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Of course.
And kick it off to you, Safia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Safia Pulliam, the founder of Find Your Light Beauty and Wellness. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you, Amickoleh, for that beautiful introduction. I created Find Your Light Beauty and Wellness out of a need to find my own light from not setting boundaries. And with that, I found that I was not alone. And so there was something just about the word light that really resonated with my journey of finding that something that I needed in order to overcome the situations that I was facing. And I found that through meditation. Meditation was my entryway into the work that I'm now doing. My background is in beauty. I've been in the beauty industry for 20 something years. And so I've always worked with women. And there's a common thread that I've noticed in working with women, with being a woman, is that we all want to be seen, we all want to be heard, we all want to feel beautiful, and we all want to know that we can. And so in finding my light, I found that these were the things that were seemed out of reach, but yet they were so close. And so, with that, is it really something to find or is it something to rediscover? And so I went with the name Find My Light because it really did bring me back to a sense of self. And it's a rediscovery that I have found. And we've been going strong since 2020. This is my fifth year. And it's been so much growth. I've been doing events. I teach mindful movement. I found that movement is one of the things that definitely get women back to finding their light, rediscovering their light, feeling safe in our bodies. And it's been a very powerful thing that has just led me to different opportunities and spaces in order to hold space for women. And so I'm very grateful to be here to have this conversation about boundaries because it's a huge part of how you find that light, how you rediscover yourself, and how you know that you can.
Beautiful. Thank you both so much
Mhm.
for that. Love that. So we are going to kick it off. Our first, actually, also want to invite you all to put in the chat too. If there's any boundaries that you're currently feeling challenged with or struggling with, please put those into the chat. We'd love to weave those into the conversation as well. And something else to think about during this conversation is if your boundaries were truly soul nourishing, what would that free you up to create or experience? So just think about that as we're moving through this conversation here, what that could look like for you. So the first question I'd like to ask, so I had this question broken up to two parts. So the first part is when reciprocity breaks, right? So when things really start to feel very obvious that there's a misalignment in your reality, whether it's with your work or with a partner or with kids, your friends, whatever the case may be. And the second part of the conversation is devotion as a daily practice. So we're really looking at reciprocity. What does it look like to have those reciprocal boundaries where both parties, are get to win, if you will, and then what does it look like to move through devotion as a daily practice? So really allowing reciprocity to be a resource to self devotion. So, all that being said, the first question I have here is what does reciprocity and self devotion mean to you in this season of your life? Whoever wants to take it first can go.
I don't mind going first. This would be if that's okay. Um, Reciprocity looks like to me allowing, and a brilliant woman said it. I can't remember her name right now, but she wrote a book. She wrote two actually. She wrote the book Let Them and Let Me.
Ooh.
And in the spirit, in the season of reciprocity, I think that is what I come to more embody now, which is allowing myself to see that reciprocity is not really enforced, but it's observed. And if I allow myself to see how people treat me, then I can allow myself to let go of them if we do not reciprocate, or let them in if they do. Um, and it allows me to keep a safer distance and say, okay, you don't treat me or you're not serving me the way that I would serve you. So without any anger or relinquishing my peace, it would be, I would have to let you go on your way. And I feel like that is something that definitely gets stronger with practice. But with choosing every day, like you say, being devoted to your everyday, being aligned with your everyday, it definitely gets strengthened the more that you practice it. So the more that you keep a distance and say, you know what, rather than think people are bad or wicked or dark or whatever, it would be more if we're aligned with each other. And if you allow yourself just to observe another person, I've experienced that you can let them go and still keep your peace, as opposed to force them to reciprocate the things that they might not be ready to reciprocate.
Mm, I love that. Forcing them to reciprocate something they may not be ready to reciprocate.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's not about control, right? It's definitely about understanding that the only person you can control is you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I believe in the power of allowance so strongly.
Mm. Mm-hmm. I love that. What about you, Sophia? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Um, it's a bit in alignment with what Coach, I want to say it right, Apparicio.
Alicia, call me Arianna. It's totally fine.
Okay. For me, it's just do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like it's very simple. Treat others how you want to be treated, and in a reciprocal way. If that's not something that you would want to feel or experience, then don't do it to somebody. And if that's not the space that you're in, because I know a lot of times people are in the space of, what affects you may not affect me, and what affects me may not affect you. But I think that's where we have to invite in empathy,
Mm.
because even though something like that is not affecting you, to Ariana's point, can you see me? Can you see with what you're causing, how that is affecting me? And if you can't see that, then there's not an alignment there. And so if you can't even see it, and then I'm expressing to you what it is that I am feeling due to your actions, and you're still not choosing to honor what it is that I'm telling you, then that off the back is telling me that there is not an alignment here. There is not an understanding here. There is not a receiving and acceptance of who I am and what it is that I need in order for us to be in relationship and to be in healthy relationship. And so if you cannot honor that based off of what I'm telling you, then it's time for me to make that separation, to create that distance. And I would hope that you understand, because ultimately it's for the betterment of both of us. Because I don't want to force you to do something that you just can't really seem to get.
Mm.
Because I think, communication is already difficult in and of itself. For me, I am, hear me?
Yeah, it's
Did I
kind of
go
cutting
out?
out a little. It kind of started cutting out a little bit.
Oh, okay. I'm a woman of few but powerful words. I'm not gonna keep on telling you the same thing over and over again. I'm gonna tell you in its most simplest form so that you get it, because I believe that in everything we do, we should teach it like we're teaching it to kindergartners. And so with that, it has to come in a simple form. And if you're just not getting what it is that I'm telling you, then there's a disconnect there. And then I think that the person in and of themselves needs to do their own work to understand, why can't I provide this person what it is that they're asking me for? Why can't I accept what it is that they're telling me that I am doing? And so I can't do that work for you. You have to do that work for yourself. And so then that informs me that this relationship is not in a place where I need to go any further or pouring it into the way that I used to.
Mm.
Excellent.
Mm. I'm curious. How long do you both just for both of you? How long do you feel like it took you to really like land in that position? Because I'm assuming in the beginning it maybe felt like a little, you know, I don't know, I don't want to say scary, but like was there like some hesitancy or some um, trepidations even around like really feeling
Absolutely.
confident in this position?
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
100%. 100%. Even to pin off of Sophia's point, one thing I had to learn is that reciprocity, or how she eloquently said, empathy, should not ever come to the cost of selfhood. So what that means is that if you are giving yourself or you are losing yourself, then that is a clear indicator that you're not in a reciprocal or empathetic relationship. Because reciprocity and empathy grows you. And I am a scientist in my brain, so I through the lessons of life, I have learned that I often want to treat others better, because when I was in situations to where I was tested, even when I could have justifiably did something, I had to hold myself to accountability and say, will I allow myself to treat them the way they treat me, or will I be what a lot of people don't know? There's empathy and there's aspirational empathy. So
Mm.
aspirational empathy is when you treat others better than what they treat you, rather than treating them the same. And yeah, life has taught me and reminded me that I am aspirationally empathetic. So even if someone, and I had to go through the test, I had to see for myself and I had to remember through life experiences that if someone treats me some type of way, I'd rather hold my peace, because my selfhood, my identity is that I am not a person that's going to come after you and do anything that might, if you hurt me, I'm not the one to go back and hurt you. I'm not that person. But I had to learn that of myself, and I had to sit with myself and actually understand, wow, this comes at the cost sometimes of people taking that for granted. But if you know yourself, you know if someone's taking that away from you, that is a clear indicator you are not to be with them and you're not aligned with them. So it definitely came with practice. It came with experience. And I think the blessing is that with having kids is that the only thing I could really do is that, wow, I learned this younger than my mother. And then my mother learned it younger than her grandmother. So then hopefully by the time that we have these young girls growing up in the world, they can learn it a lot earlier and
Mm.
they can pass the test a lot easier than what we ever might have had to.
Mm. I love that.
And I'm so glad, Coach, that you said that about the young girls, because most of us experience this in our childhood, in
Yes.
our foundational uh villages, our family. And
Mhm.
so for me, I was the only child. I am an only child, and a lot of extended family. And I just noticed within that dynamic how I was treated. And I was very quiet, but very observant. And so I always could tell when something didn't feel quite right. I didn't know what it was, because as a child you don't really know, but now that I've gotten older, it was my intuition, it was my sense letting me know that hmm this does not feel good. But as a child, and especially growing up in Black households, we're often silenced a lot, and so, or not encouraged to speak or encouraged to have a voice. And so that led to me being quiet in a lot of these relationships, family, friends, and as I got older, because I didn't have, or I also wasn't encouraged to articulate how I felt when someone had hurt me. And so that took a huge unlearning. And so it's actually what led me into meditation and mindfulness, because I had a family situation where they did something that hurt me. And instead of me doing my default of not saying anything, which I did say something, but I also didn't turn to the comforts that I normally turn to. I turned to something that said, you know what? I'm a grown woman now. There has to be something in me that needs to overcome what it is that I'm experiencing, and I'm not tapped into it. How do I find that thing? And it was meditation. And within starting meditation was when I started to learn that people don't get to treat you like that. People don't get to disregard your feelings. I matter. And that was the biggest thing that I took away from starting my meditation practice was I matter. And once that got ingrained in me, oh baby, couldn't nobody tell me or do nothing to me again, and I wasn't gonna say nothing about it.
Yes.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
And so with that, I had to learn how to express that with kindness. Because of course, you're angry. You don't like being treated that way. Somebody has done something to hurt you. We want to defend, we want to keep ourselves safe. But what I had to realize is that they're not going to meditation classes, they're
mm,
not going to therapy. And so, how do I communicate with them in a way where they can understand where I'm coming from because I matter and what you just did is not okay? And some received it and some did not. And so, once again, for those that did not, that's your work to do to understand why you can't accept me telling you I'm not okay with that. And for
mm,
those that were able to accept it, we're good. They apologized. They understood. We were able to move forward. And so, to Coach's point, it does go back to how we're teaching our children what our grandmothers went through, what our mothers went through, because we're all learning these things as we're living and growing in the environments that we're in. But now we're more informed. Coach knows I got to teach my girls this in order for them to not go through that. So they're getting it. And I think that that's the blessing that we're in now to have these conversations because we're informed. You can't say you don't know anymore. Some can, but not everybody anymore.
mm, mm.
That's a good point.
I love that so
Absolutely.
much. Woo, a whole word. Comment here in the chat. I am in, this is from Hope Wallace. I am an aspirational, empathetic, or empathic, a lot to unpack. So we are also taught at a young age to do for others first before taking care of yourself. How are we feeling about that? Because that is a very, especially as
That's
women,
a
there's a
very
lot of women in
cultural
here too.
teaching. That's a very cultural teaching. And it does, in my historical studies, it does come as a result of patriarchy. It does come from women specifically um, being the subject of those relationships and the daughters being raised to be mothers and wives before they're being raised to love themselves, right? And it's a trauma, and it's a trauma that I'm hoping our people heal from. I actually have seen that we are healing from. So that always gives me hope. But yeah, we're in a very unique time right now to where we are the most free women that have ever existed. And I think that's a lot of power because in our freedom, we can finally love ourselves. We don't have to let
Mm-hmm.
anyone take away our selfhood, our identity, our alignment. We are free to explore, and we're only getting freer as time goes on. So as there we do have that trauma to unpack that, we were taught to serve others before ourselves. I think the time that we're in now finally gives us the grace to be like, you know what, everyone else will be fine. What do you need today? Or what do I need today? Do I need prayer? Do I need meditation? Do I need to go out into nature and reconnect with one in source? Do I need to eat a burger on Friday? Like, what do I need right now in order to make myself feel whole and aligned?
Mm, mm,
That's really good.
yeah.
What I can say about that, because I'm an only child, I never was in a space where I had to take care of other people, not to that degree. Um, for me, it more so came from wanting to be accepted. And so I put other people before me because I wanted them to accept me. I wanted the connection. I wanted the community. I wanted to feel like I was a part of the group. And that is how I lost myself in allowing others to be put first. And as I have grown to know or come to know that that is me giving my power away for the sake of being accepted, where I should be accepted just because I am. And so now that I have that realization that who I am is enough, and me putting you first does not, it does nothing to empower me. If anything, it creates a hierarchy, or it creates an imbalance, because I am putting my needs to the side, all in order to have your acceptance. So what does that say about me? That says that I'm insecure. That says that I am not feeling worthy enough to just be enough as I am. I have to put you first. And so I found myself doing that in friendships. I found myself doing that in relationships. I found myself doing that with extended family. And so that's why when the situation happened to me, I had to realize this is not okay, because as much as I'm yet trying to get these people to rally around me and be this for me and be that for me, they still aren't. And so what is it that I am missing in my heart and in myself, in my soul, that's making me do this? And it was that thing, once again, of going back to meditation and realizing I matter. I matter. And so, you know, as I am now, in my womanhood, and I love what you just said, Coach, about women being more empowered and more free and more liberated than we ever had before. And we are not going back. Once
Yes.
we get to the point of establishing that we matter, that is a boundary that I feel like we are no longer letting anyone cross.
Absolutely.
And in that mattering, and I think I shared this with you, Amickoleh, I had a reframe of the word boundary in and of itself. Boundaries are not to keep people out, they're to keep people in. I'm setting this because I care about our relationship, and I want you to understand me, and I want you to get this, because I'm where it's at, you know, and I
I
would hope
love
that
it.
you think that you where it's at. And so let's stay in this together, but don't do that. And if you can't get with that, then you put yourself outside of the boundary. I
Mm.
didn't put you out. You put
You
yourself
put
out.
yourself
And
out.
I
Yeah.
want you, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
safe here. But if me telling you something that you're doing is not making me feel safe, and you're offended by that and you don't like that, then hold on a minute, friend. What are we doing? What is happening here? Because just like how you want to keep me in, I want to do what it takes in order to stay in with you. Because I
Mm-hmm.
love you, because I care for you, and I want to nurture this. And so it's this is a very nuanced conversation, but it's also very simple, but it also takes work, because we've been conditioned to be something else for so long, and to say, you know what, cut them off, do this, do that. I get it, I'm the cut them off queen, but being like that is not sustainable.
Mm.
And so, how do I reframe this? How do I deliver this with love and care, so that I actually, my boundaries keep you in my life, opposed to pushing you out of my life?
Mm.
And so that's what I've come to learn with, you know, just nourishing myself through creating these boundaries.
Mm. Mm.
And Nicolay, if I can add in something,
Yes, please.
I don't know if Sophia knows how powerful what she just said was. There is not one religion or philosophy in the world that does not tell you to know yourself first before you give yourself over. Not one. I've studied over 40 religions, over 28 different cultures, and all of them lean towards knowing yourself before you give.
Mm.
And that's why we really have to appreciate the time we are in now, because it is that meditation, it is that prayer, it is that self reflection that makes us our most powerful selves. And
Mm-hmm.
the only people that tend to gain from you not living in your fully expressed version of yourself are the people who are looking to take you for granted and to keep you powerless. So we are now coming into this time again, which is beautiful because Safia is talking thousands of years of an ancient knowledge. This knowledge used to be, people used to be persecuted for knowing yourself, coming into alignment with yourself, and then understanding that all of God and all of Source is embodied in you. And you do a disservice, not just to yourself, but to the whole world. If you go out there and try to imitate or try to get external validation, because the universe doesn't pick up on imitation, right? You have a unique frequency. You were made special. You were made different from any other human being that ever walked on earth. So imagine the universe is surprised when you try to be somebody else. Imagine the universe is surprised when you're just like, well, I know I didn't make you like this. You didn't choose to come down like this, but now you're doing this for other people. But it's understanding in the sense of God has a heart after our own, right? So it's
Mm,
not like they don't understand, like, oh, yeah, you do want to be accepted. You do want to be validated. But understand that the people who I made for you will come if you just accept you. If you accept you, your people will come. So
mm,
Safia is talking on thousands of years where humanity has been here for God knows how long. And every culture throughout time has expressed the importance of identity and knowing yourself before you give yourself to the world.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah. And I love what you said too about like
Thank you.
having us remembering that we all have a unique frequency, right? Because
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, and when you think about that from an energetic lens, it's like it's that frequency that it's us resonating at a certain frequency, like you said, that allows us to attract other people. So if we're not resonating at our unique frequency, we are attracting all kind of mishmash, chaos. And we're trying to
Yes.
go on in my field, what's going on in my reality? Who are all these people? What are all these things that are happening? Is because we are
Right.
so out of alignment energetically with who we are authentically at a soul level. So I love that you brought that up about frequency because that gets overlooked. I feel like a lot when we talk about, personal growth and, coming into ourselves and remembering who we are and all of those things is like really paying attention to how important the energetics of that is at a grander scale, and from
Mhm.
a universal perspective, all the way down to the micro, our day-to-day lives, right? And living this out, talked about, it being a practice and living it out, our unique frequency as a practice, living out these boundaries as a practice in order to cultivate a reality that feels harmonious and peaceful. We all want joy, bliss, creativity, love, X, Y, and Z, but it's like, are we doing the things that are resonating at that frequency so that way we are creating that reality. So that was beautiful. Thank you for that. Mm.
I love that. Can I just piggyback on that a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit. Thank you for saying that, Coach. And also, yes, I love that you brought in the frequency component. A few years ago, I led a workshop called What's Your Frequency? And so many people don't know what their frequency is because, to your point, Coach, we're trying to switch ourselves up in order to meet somebody else. So, how often in our day to day, especially as Black women, especially as Black people, we're code switching, we're turning it on, we're turning it off. And so, we're showing up in places where we're truly not able to be our full selves. We're not able to be within our full frequency because
Mm-hmm.
we don't get that. And so that's why the practices that we do are so important. And they're about bringing you back into alignment with your true self, because in your day to day lives, you are being someone else. You are having to be somebody else for your kids, for your family, for your job. The moment you step out of your house, you putting a face on. You're putting on your armor in order to show up. Our practices that we are, the meditation, the prayer, the journaling, how much can you get into yourself before you step out of this house to stay as grounded in your frequency as you can now that you're about to interact with the world? That's
Mm-hmm.
why them first few minutes that you wake up in the morning, what you do in your morning routine are so important, because soon as you step outside, that frequency is about to change. You're leaving your peace, your home, your sanctuary to go into a world that is ready to battle you. And not to say that the frequency that you have, in order to thwart that isn't real, but that frequency needs to be strong. And
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing in order to get that strength so that you can withstand everything that is out there that is going to come up against you. That's where the practices come into play.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So I
Thank you
just
so
want to
much.
say,
Yeah,
No,
I
thank
love
you for
that.
this.
It reminds me so
That
much.
resonated.
Oh, were you saying Ariana?
No, I said that resonated with me for sure.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I love what you said about the your morning routine, your morning practice. That's something that's how I look at my morning practice too, because I used to look at it from the lens of like, okay, like what do I need to do to like be like the high performer? What do I need to do to get the most done? What do I need to do to be XYZ, the best employee or the best this or the best that or XYZ? And none of those like routines were sticking. I was like, I can get into it for a little bit, or I just would just kind of fall away. And I started to realize I was like, how is any of this helping me to, like you said, like come back into wholeness with myself? How is any of this helping me to remember why I'm here, what my mission is, what my medicine is, like how to make sure I'm, like you said, stepping out this house, or when I step into my laptop from working remotely, or I'm showing up in my home frequency, in my energetic sovereignty. And so that's when I really started looking at my morning routine a lot differently, and also looking at, okay, what practices can I insert at lunchtime, dinner time? It's like the morning routine isn't meant to last us all day. We gotta recharge. You gotta find some time in the middle of the day, find some time in the evening, plug back in, plug back in, plug back in. And not just putting so much pressure on just the morning, and then trying to figure out, why am I crashing at the end of the day? But it's like, what are you also doing in between, your day as well? Like the daily practice is an all day thing, right? And so how do you integrate it throughout your life? And I think that's where the conversation of wholeness too, boundaries really allowing us to be more whole, and cultivating boundaries with ourselves, as far as like the practices, showing up for our practice, showing up for those daily activities that keep us, grounded and centered, and not slacking off on one day or whatever, or shifting it. Okay, maybe it's not journaling today, maybe it's going for a walk, maybe it's
mhm.
just looking at the sky, and just allowing ourselves to be fluid with our boundaries too. So I love
Yeah.
that. I did have Sophie, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I did have a question too. I was really curious to ask you all. So we talked a little bit about already, like what it looks like when boundaries are crossed. So my question around that is, when a boundary is crossed consciously or unconsciously, what's the first emotion that arises for you, and where does it show up in your body? Because I think it's really important for people to understand where they're being activated physically and somatically, and how to navigate through some of that.
Mm, that's a good one. Safia, do you mind if I go first, or because I can't see you when you're not?
Go ahead.
Okay. That's a really good question. I can only speak for me, but when a boundary is crossed for me, I'm a why girl. So I'm always asking the question why. I think it's one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves here. So when a boundary is crossed, I'm often asking myself why, because I feel it in my head, like I feel it in my brain, trying to analyze it. And I think that happens for me because I really, really try to understand. Um, and I think in understanding, you can move informed. So for me, by the time I understand why you crossed my boundary, you felt like you had to cross a boundary that I set up, I can I can basically forgive and let go because I understand you. Like I understand why you felt like you could, or maybe that you, whatever the case may be. But now I'm internalizing it, and I'm basically taking assessment. Like, what made this person think that it was okay? Why did you feel like it was okay? Did I not set up a strong enough boundary? Were you someone I should have set up a boundary with, but I didn't know that I had to? And that, again, coming in back to self, we were talking about self a lot, but coming back into self, and I think asking those questions, we can never control how other people react to us. All we can do is control ourselves. So I go inner, I feel it more so in my mind a lot, I analyze it, and then I can release it. So it
Mm-hmm.
goes from like my brain to my heart
Mm-hmm.
is the best way to say that. So my brain analyzes it, and then my heart releases it.
Mm. Mm. Wow. What about you, Sophia?
Literally the opposite. My heart feels it first. Because for me, if I am feeling it, it means that you are close to me. If you're not close to me, I don't care. Okay. But if there is some depth of our relationship, it's like, ooh, why you do that to me? What? I feel it. I am a feeler through and through. I am a deep feeling person. And then it goes to my head. But not even about you. I internalize, what did I do? Because what did I do that made you feel like you could do that to me? Not even where they're coming from. And so that's where I have made the shift, actually. I still feel it in my heart, but now I put it back on them. I don't put it on, well, what did you do, Safia, in order to make them do this to you? No, what's going on in their world where they were activated to do that to me? And so I take some of the onus off of myself. And I feel safe now allowing it to be on my heart because I have now accepted I'm deep. I'm not a shallow person, never have been. You know, if you want shallow conversation, I'm not your girl. I want to know what's going on. And so when things happen, what is going on? I feel that. And so because of that, I have just learned how to take care of my heart in a better way. And I'm like a cat. I go away and I lick my wounds in order to, take care of myself. And then I come back and I'm better because I've done the work on my heart because I know that I am this person in order to show up again, whether it be for that person that hurt me or to show up moving forward. Because I'm in a place in my life where I truly believe that there are more people out here to love me than there are behind me. I don't want to be in a mindset that I've already met all the people that are going to love me and care for me and befriend me. No, this is a big world. There are so many more people who I can't wait to meet. They can't wait to meet me. And I feel like there will be a lot of love and care there, especially for where I'm at now, because I know myself. I matter. I know I feel deeply. So now I know how much I can show up, how much I can give, how much I have the capacity for. I know how to take care of me now. So I can really show up in these spaces and places and relationships with a better awareness of what this could be. Not overanalyzing it, not projecting into it, but just better knowing myself. And I think that that makes all the difference in when I am hurt again, because that's going to happen. I'm going to be hurt again. That's just life. But now I can be proactive instead of reactive in how I move forward with myself and the other person.
Whew. You said a lot. That was a lot. Oh, my heart. My heart felt very
when she said,
yeah.
I felt it when she said she felt my heart. Like, why you hurt me? I was like, yeah, girl. I feel it come on strong.
I feel like that healed something in my spirit, in my soul. um, Actually, I feel it in my heart too. I definitely feel things deeply in my heart. And as I was pondering that question for myself, I feel it in my heart and then I feel it in my gut. And then I think I start to overanalyze it. And I tend to, and that's something I'm also working on too. But I used to take the route that you were talking about, Safia, like, what did I do? And oh my gosh, what did I say? And me. And then I had to also realize, like, okay, they didn't, like I said, this is something, or like you said, this is someone that I feel close to. We've had intimate conversations, or like, we were there for each other during a time or whatever. They said that if I ever need anything, X, Y, and Z, da, 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 da. And then they kind of like, they ghost you, or they kind of turn left, or things go awry. You're like, damn, like I never got that understanding. I never got the closure that we always, we want. They didn't tell me what I did or what I said, or if I moved wrong, or if I had X, Y, and Z. So why am I taking all the blame? Like I have no clue why they chose to respond in this way or react in this way. And I had to really sit with myself with that, because especially with friends, it can be so easy to do that in friendships. But I finally had that realization myself of like, wait, why am I taking all the blame? Like, I have no clue. Like, they didn't give me that grace to have a conversation with me to say you did X, Y, and Z, and this is why I feel like we can no longer be A, B, C, or whatever. And so I think that was a really huge, powerful shift for me, and one that I'm still navigating and working through. But I think that was. I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's a game changer right there for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it just really helps a lot of mental weight, release a lot of mental weight, which is something that I learned through therapy. You know, everybody is going through something, everybody is seeing things through their own lens. And, our feelings are all valid, our feelings all matter. But also in that moment, you have to give space to other people for their feelings and what it is that they're going through and experiencing. And it does suck, especially when it is intimate, relationships where you can't have a conversation truly about what's going on, because you would expect that. But those tend to be the ones that are the most sensitive, where people turn away. And so I think that for us as people who are doing the therapy, who are in the spiritual work, we just have to extend that compassion. We have to extend that empathy in order to be like, you know what? Because at one point you loved the person, you had a great relationship with them. And so there has to still be space for loving kindness and sending them that love to say, I don't know what my friend is going through. I don't know why things have transpired like this. May they be blessed. May they be happy. May they be well, because
Mm-hmm.
at one point this was your homie, this was your
Mm-hmm.
friend, this was whatever. Now, if something has transpired that has really made the relationship, go in a dark way, or in a very bad way, that can be more difficult. But for this path that we're on as enlightened people, we still have to have that glimmer of that, even if it's a little bit. You effed me over, you ain't pay me back, you ain't do what you said you was gonna do. All right. But you know what? I don't wish no bad on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't wish no bad on you. But we good over here. I can set that boundary because I'm still human, but also still in my glimmer of light. I don't wish no bad on my friend. I don't wish no bad on wherever they are right now. May they be happy. May they be well. And over time, it gets gentler. It gets more kinder, because you're letting it go. Time is passing. You're moving through it. And ultimately, just go on and forgive and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
And if
do
I
want
could
to.
add something.
Oh, go ahead, Ariana. What were you saying?
No, I was saying if I could pin to what you and Sophia were saying, that's exactly how I used to be able to, um, how you say, my heart used to be over abundant with emotions and everything like that. And I over time I've come to understand like some truths, and I think that's where my I go when it's like, well, how do I love humanity? How do I love this species that I chose to become a part of? I didn't choose to come down as a dog. It's like how do I navigate all this? And one quote that always stood the test of time for me is that hurt people hurt people. So
Mm-hmm.
when I say like when I feel like someone crosses a boundary now, it's not something that I was born into or that, like I just knew intuitively. It's over time I was a truth would come into remembrance for me, like hurt people, and it allows me to depersonalize what someone has done to me because I automatically jump to, wow, if they would have did this to me, they would have did this to anybody. I was just the opportunity. So it used to be more personal. It used to be more so coming from my heart. But as I've seen that hurt people, it literally, my mind is able to regulate the feelings that would have been so overabundant and not sure and hurt, almost like in protection. And
Mm-hmm.
just the same way the heart protects the brain from being cold and not just like not everything's data, not everything's logic. You have to give feeling and emotions to life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way I try to balance my brain with my heart, saying, you know the truth. You know only hurt people, because if we know, I know we know as ladies know in our space, people who heal together heal great together.
Mm,
and they raise each other up and they boast about each other, they brag on each other, and they speak life into each other. So you can only imagine the other side of that when someone comes into your space with the intention to hurt you.
mm,
It's like, oh, I'm just your opportunity to hurt me. So when I think about it now, it like I said, it had to be something developed with experience and over time. But my mind definitely helps regulate my heart in that and helps me depersonalize when people cross boundaries now. Because now I just see myself as any other human you would have did this to. I will
mm,
no longer allow you to do this to me.
mm,
So
hmm. Yeah, there is some like liberation, peace, freedom when you allow yourself to depersonalize things. Because it's so easy to just like take it personally and just be like, oh, but they did this to me, and like, why me? But
and to Savia's point, it'll come from the people who are closest to you. Like we experience a lot of pain on this earth. Like we go through hardship together. We go through betrayal. We go through deceit. We go through heartbreak, right? And again, we can hold that on, and it doesn't mean that the person's actions are excused. It doesn't mean that they did not cross a boundary. But like you said, the power of depersonalizing it not only helps your heart heal from it, but I think it lends to a greater understanding of the world that you chose to be a part of, which is
mm,
that hurt people will hurt people because they don't understand what they do, as the Bible says. Forgive them not, for they know not what they do. So
mm,
you with that understanding have more of a peace because it's like, well, how can you know what? I'm not going to allow myself to get mad at you because I know for a fact you can't know what you do. Because if
mm,
you knew karma and if you knew that what is done to others will come back to you, how could you hurt me and not think you're going to get hurt? That's confusing. But you know what? I wish you well, like Safia said. I wish you well. I wish you in peace. And I pray. And it's so funny. We often treat those people being aspirational, empathetic. We often cover them after they hurt us.
mm,
You know what? I wish you well. I wish you peace.
mm-hmm,
And I wish you on your way.
mm. I love that.
And I think to what you just said is so good, everything. It goes back to what I said in the beginning. Do unto others what you would have them do unto you. That is the core of all of this,
Yes.
And yeah, a lot of people, they don't know. They really don't. But I also do think that some people know.
Mm-hmm,
And it's not a if moment, it's a when moment. Because people, we're we do things by nature. How you do one thing is how you tend to do everything, unless you are really seeking to be in a place of changing some habits that you really recognize are not working for you. But if you're okay with this and if you think that this is working for you, you're going to continue to do that. And so you will only be able to tell that maybe this thing isn't a good thing once you do lose somebody who is really good, or
mm,
once you do come into a situation where it really does challenge your belief system about how you go about this. And until that happens, you'll just continue in that because it's your nature to do that because that's
mm,
what you've been doing.
mm, mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, yeah, they will keep
Yeah.
turning because it's in their nature to do it. Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Until they learn the lesson.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Until you
And
learn
I
the.
think and then to your point, that's why we give them the grace. That's
Mm-hmm,
why we're still praying for them. That's why we're wishing them well, because it's not by accident that we are enlightened people, that we are seeing things in this way, because there are some people who are just strictly 3D. They are
mm-hmm,
here to have a human experience. They don't care about anything deep. They're not thinking about anything further. They're truly very surface level, people. And it's going over their head. And so that's why we have this thing called balance, this yin and yang. We have to be here in order to balance that out. What if
mm.
everybody here wasn't deep, didn't care? It would be a hot, chaotic mess out here. So you
Woo.
have to have us here. We are here for a reason in order to create that duality,
Mm,
to show that, well, somebody got to care. But I think in
Mhm.
our caring, that's where these conversations are important, because we don't know this when we're young. Some do, but if you're young and you're coming into this, you don't know what this thing is that you're feeling about people or situations, only until you truly seek it out, until you continue to have your own experience and like get better clarity as to why I'm feeling this, why I'm experiencing this. And then you start to take the reins and do that self-analysis and get more self-aware and do the work and be like, oh, this is actually a gift. And I need to be
Mhm.
utilizing it in ABCD way for myself first in order to protect me. And then I can pour this into others to support them.
Mm.
Sophia, you just hit on a truth, boy. One of the greatest lies is that the world has ever told is that empathy is a weakness. Empathy is the greatest strength on earth. It is the greatest superpower.
Mm.
Yeah, and a lot of us didn't know it back then, but now that we are enlightened, as Sophia said, and now that we come into remembrance earlier, we have a duty and responsibility to our younger people to
Mm.
make sure that they understand and know that we support them through the journey too.
Mm. Mm. This has been so good. Oh, thank you all so much. Okay, we are going to switch gears now. We're going to step into our part two of the conversation, and then we can get into some questions here. So, the second part, we're going to be talking about devotion as a daily practice. We've already been talking about the daily practice piece, but now we're going to be looking at that devotional aspect. So, coming out of reciprocity and now looking at the self devotion component. So, I'm curious, what is a current non negotiable boundary in your work or life in general, and what lesson demanded it? So, what is one of your current non negotiable boundaries that you have in your life or work? And what was the experience that led to you setting that boundary? Is that non negotiable? Who wants to go first?
I went first a couple of times. I was just leaving space for Sophia to go first.
Okay, thank you for that, Ariana.
Yeah, of course.
Um, a non-negotiable. A non-negotiable in my life right now is I will not not speak my truth.
Mm, okay, talk to me a little bit about that, especially, yeah.
It goes back to the statement of I matter. My truth matters. And just because you don't see it that way does not mean that it is not real. And it does not mean that I don't get the opportunity to speak it.
Mm,
Because what I find is, like the saying goes, the truth hurts. I can no longer manage your emotions by not speaking my truth.
oh,
Because for so long, I have been in fear of speaking my truth because I'm afraid that it is going to hurt someone. I,
mm,
I can't control that. I
mm,
cannot control how my truth lands for you.
mm,
And to have that expectation of me is a devaluing of my essence, of
mm,
my reality, of my humanness, my experience. Who am I to tell you that your truth does not matter, that it is not valid? If it is true for you, then okay.
mm-hmm.
I
Wow.
may not see it that way, but this goes back to the point of accepting. Can I accept what it is that you're saying without me getting offended? And if you are offended, then that says something more about you than it does about me.
Mm,
And so, um, yeah, that's pretty much how I'm managing all aspects of my life
mm-hmm.
right now. And especially after losing my mom, um, you know, just that realization that, don't none of this matter. Don't none of it matter.
Mm-hmm.
We just all out here living and doing the best that we can with the information that we have, but ultimately we are all going to raise our eyes in another place. And so until then, I must live what I feel like I am here to live. And any diluting of that, any watering down of that, diluting, water down, that's the same thing. Um, any shrinking of that, it just is a disservice to me and who God has created me to be. And I'm just really at a point in my life where I really want to live who God has created me to be.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that looks like speaking my truth to situations and people who I don't know how it's going to land for them, but it's not fair for me to continue to hold it in my heart and in my throat
Yep.
chakra,
Yep.
locking myself up when you're splurring out everything that you feel when you want to, how you want to, but I don't get to say what it is that I'm feeling, what I'm going through. It's just not how I'm living anymore.
Mm.
And so that's where I'm at.
Mm. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll add a little caveat for that. Sometimes it's a matter of speaking that truth to an audience, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's a matter of speaking that truth to a piece of paper. Because some conversations, some things that need to be spoken, do need to go on a piece of paper.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Speaking to the audience and speaking to a piece of paper, that's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Sometimes it does. Because in these relationships, because once again, boundaries, the people that are crossing it tend to be people who are close to us. That's why we're feeling it so deeply. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes those people just cannot receive what it is that you're saying. They can't. They don't have the capacity. They not deep.
Mm-hmm.
They not feeling what they say. You can only meet people at the levels to which they have met themselves. Some of these people ain't met themselves nowhere. So
Mm-hmm.
you pouring out your heart and your truth, me pouring that out to them, it's hitting a wall.
Mm.
I'm just speaking that word. So sometimes go speak to that paper. That's why they say you got manuscripts in you, you got books in you, you got journals in you. Ain't always got to go to a person. It don't always have to go to an audience, but it do needs to go someplace where you can get it off your heart, out of your mind, and out of your throat so
Mm-hmm.
that you can free up that space so that you can continue to live
Yeah.
and be. And so that goes back to the practices.
Mm.
So yeah.
It is- The thing that came to mind to me when Safia was talking, I don't know if there was a story, but long story short, it basically told that anytime you look out to a horizon, there's a lighthouse on somewhere. And just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not on. And I think that came to mind for me when Safia said that there people are so lost in themselves and they don't know who they are that the light you shine they can't even see. It doesn't mean that you're not shining your light for them to see, but they're so distant from you spiritually, emotionally, that it's not even there in their horizon. It's not there. So, wow, that's just, yeah, some people could be so distant, and yeah, people will only meet you where they've come to meet themselves. And we can't control anyone's journey in that. We all have to walk our path. No one
Mm-hmm.
can walk before us. No one's
Mm-hmm.
walking for us.
Mm.
Oof.
Wow.
That's to speaking the truth,
Speaking the
no matter
truth.
what the cost, to speaking the truth.
Yes. Yes. Mm. I'm curious too, what are some of the practices that you all implement that have allowed you to make having these boundaries really nourishing and having it really feel pleasurable. And because I think sometimes when we think about boundaries, immediately we're just like, oh, it's like this fear, and like, we might have to lose, we don't have to do, and like there's there's that kind of energy. But I think it's like what I think you were saying earlier, Safia. You were talking about like keeping people in. It's designed because like I love you and I care about you, and so like what does that look like for you all when you're kind of reflecting your boundaries or establishing boundaries, whether it is self-care, so taking time for yourself or taking time with others? What are some of those practices that really allow you to allow it to feel like a really beautiful, nurturing process or practice?
Yeah, actually, I'm one of those people who, when I hear boundary, I do think defensiveness. Um, uh, and I tend not to want to look at humanity that way. I think it's just a perspective shift. There's nothing wrong with either perspective. So I try to come out of the realm of who's right and who's wrong. It's perspective shift for me. But one of the non-negotiables that I have in terms of myself is that I choose to love myself no matter where I am every day. Because I used to think that I couldn't love myself completely until I was perfect. And then I realized that we don't reach perfection. Actually, our perfection is being imperfect. So choosing every day, the devotion, as you were saying, is choosing to love myself every day, no matter where I find myself. And a practice that, and to add a caveat to that, and not leaning on others to supply that love for me that I cannot supply for myself. Because I can only love others as deeply as I love myself. So me loving myself first will often go out and resonate to the people who I say I love the most. And one of the daily practices that I do, sometimes it's so simple, because rather than say like, this is the boundary I'm putting up today, I allow myself to recalibrate and say, this is what I can hold today and this is what I cannot. This is what I have to release today. And when I'm brushing my teeth, if you ever know the how someone looks at you when you're in love, I look at myself like that. Not in a narcissistic type of way, but I'll brush my teeth and I'll just look into my eyes and I'm just like, I'm so proud of you today. Like, I'm proud of you. I love you. It allows me to see the source and the divinity inside myself and be like, wow, I'm just an expression of something so great and something so vast and something so powerful and something so unimaginably amazing. That for me to be an expression of that means that I am powerful, I am divine, I am protected, I am loved on. And it just allows me just for a second, because you only brush your teeth for 2 minutes. That's what they say to do. But even if it's just for a couple seconds, it's just that longing look that you can give yourself that I feel like even if you're in a place of distance from yourself, allow yourself to look. They actually call it mirror practice or mirror meditation. But it's some people go into these sensory deprivation rooms, and the room is nothing but mirrors. And for like a couple hours, you are just told to look at yourself from every angle. People say they come out never knowing they had a mole in the back of their neck, never knew that they hunched over as much as they did. But the practice is meant to stir something up inside of you that all you have is you. And how you reflect you back to you. So every morning, no matter what time it is, I just go and my partner could attest for this because sometimes he hear me talking to myself. He's like, girl, what you doing? I'm like, I'm talking some life into myself. You know what I mean? Because any way I love me, I'm gonna love you more, right? So it's like I'm talking some love into myself. But I'll be brushing my teeth, I'll be washing my face, and I just look at myself for 2 seconds. I'm like, I love you. I really do. And I just go up about my day. And I think just little things like that, we have to remember to bring gratitude back to the little things of life. And I think that is a small gesture that, if you're feeling, insecure, if you're feeling like devalued by anybody, give that value back to yourself. You look at yourself. You don't need anyone else for you to tell yourself that you love yourself. That's strictly a relationship with yourself. So that's a little daily practice I do, is just choose with the non-negotiable
Mm-hmm.
I will choose to love myself no matter where I find myself. It don't matter if I was on a diet plan and I was just like, man, I'm eating burgers today, bump the diet plan. Oh, I was supposed to work out today, bump the workout. I'm going to work out next week. No matter where I am in life, I love where I am right now.
Mm. Mm. What about you, Safia?
Presence for me is really being present.
Mm.
I'm a big ruminator. I will play things over and over and over and over 12,000 different ways. And to be a mindfulness guy, that is not okay.
It's human.
So
It's
it
human.
is. It is. And so that's why I have so much empathy and I can teach this thing to other people like it's the back of my hand because I know the power of presence. If I'm thinking about the past, I'm in regret and I'm depressed. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about the future, I'm anxious and I'm projecting. But when I am present, I'm in peace.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
all that is happening is what is happening right now. And I am so happy and in peace right now talking to y'all. This is great.
Love
Because
that.
this is what is happening now.
Yes.
We said what we said, that's done past.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what's going to happen next. But right now, I am loving this moment.
Mm.
And how many moments do we miss that we don't get the opportunity to love because we in the past or we in the future? If we're going to love this life, if I'm going to love my life fully, I have to be present for it. If I'm in the past, I am not present for what's happening now. If I am in the future, I am not present for what's happening now. And what's happening now could be a hard thing. It really could. Experiencing what I went through with my mom and her illness and her passing, it was so hard. But there were these moments where I was just there. And it was like, can't do nothing about what's happening. And so it allowed a peace and it allowed a presence that allowed me to feel and
Mm.
to be with her and to be with what was happening. And so it allowed for clarity. It allowed for every emotion to show up in its truest form, no matter what it was. If I was angry about that. If I was sad about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what's happening now. And so the more I come into that awareness for myself, especially soon as you wake up in the morning. Because soon as your eyes open, your mind start. It's ready. And because I'm a ruminator and because one of the tenets of mindfulness that we teach, we're typically thinking the same thoughts over and over and over all day long. And if I'm thinking a thought over and over and over, it's embedded in me. And so soon as I wake up in the morning, boom, it's ready to start work again. I just woke up. You're not going to do this to me. And that's when we say, no, the power of the mind. You be a witness to that. Why am I even thinking this?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's here to keep me trapped. It's here to keep me safe. But if I can start to think a new thought, if I can start to be present with what is happening right now, whether good or bad, I'm addressing it right now. And so now I have the power to create my new reality. Because in the next moment, I still want peace. So my thought is still peace. Somebody just pissed me off. Oh, okay. Peep that. I'm coming back because you're not going to take me all the way out of myself. I did the work when I left the house this morning, but okay, boop, see you, I'm back. And so it's all about coming back into presence for me,
Yeah.
because that is where my power lies. Is where my power lies, like I said, in every emotion. Because emotions are not bad. And I think that's another thing. Like, when it comes to these boundaries, people feel like, oh, why you doing that? Because we emote.
Hmm.
We are emotional people, and that is okay, but it is all a matter of what we're doing with these emotions.
Yep.
That's what gets us in the trouble or the triumph. And
Hmm.
I'm in a place in my life where I want to be in more triumph than I do trouble. And so I have to come back to a place of, okay, I see that, I was that, but right now I am this, and this resonates.
Yeah.
And so moment by moment. And so that's the place where I'm finding my most power, is the place where I'm loving myself the most. It's the place where I feel like I'm creating the most, the life that I want, actually tangibly creating things. And I'm just finding that it's a beautiful thing. And I like it here.
I love that. I love that. Oh man.
I just wanted to say I'm loving this conversation as well and talking to you and both of you. I really am.
I'm so
So we all
grateful.
in the presence together and I love it.
Yes, same,
Oh,
same.
yeah, no, this has been a word. Okay, so last question here to wrap us up for our part two. It sounds like we already tapped into it a little bit, talking about our future selves. So, to support your future self, the version of you that is rising in 2026, what boundaries are you currently installing or reinforcing? So, we're not waiting for January. We're starting today. Like Safia was saying, presence, we're starting today. So, what boundaries are you currently installing or reinforcing as you bring in that 2026 version of your reality?
It's actually really funny because Safia really said it all in her last answer. It's being present.
Hmm.
It's being present. Like trauma keeps you stuck in your past, you know, being anxious about the future doesn't help anything either. So most you can, one of my mentors told me that the only thing in control is your right now. And you are in your right now. So yeah, definitely reinforcing being present and expressing the gratitude of being present is something that I also want to practice more of. I think, again, the, the world bombards us with so much that it's hard to find gratitude for little things. We often teach at AABD that if there's one thing that you could be thankful for, no matter how small you think it is, it's something that someone else doesn't have.
Mm.
So it's just in recognizing that we're all here together on this earth, that something you might take for granted could be someone's whole year, someone's whole decade, even if they had that one thing that you had. Um, so being present, being aware, and being grateful. And it's not like Safia excellently said, it's not that hardship won't come. And it's not that you won't have to deal with those things when they come, because that is life. Life is an ebb and flow. It is the hills and the valleys. Um, but again, finding the gratitude of right now, and it resonated with me and hit me deeply because I also lost a family member today, actually,
Oh,
before
sorry to hear
this
that.
podcast. No, no, it's fine. Sorry, before the panel, I'm sorry. And thank you. That when Sophia was talking about her mother, it's not that you won't. I found myself being more grateful. One of the things he actually taught me, the last thing he taught me, my uncle, was that regret is the most wasted human emotion. Because if you live your whole life feeling it, you'll never live it all. And that
Mm.
was the last thing that he instilled in me before he transitioned. And it hit me, and the wisdom of it hit me when he passed away. And I was just like, wow, I'm not going to sit here. Yeah, my flesh will mourn. And I will mourn his presence. I will mourn the time I had laughs with him and everything. But he lived such a happy life when I knew him that I have more to celebrate and be grateful for in
Mm.
the time that we had together. And it helped me, even on this panel here, manage my grief and manage, again, being present with you all. Like, even being present here with the two of you beautiful ladies helped me really embody that wisdom. Like, wow, even when someone transitions, even when someone moves on, if you think more of the things that you're more grateful for about them, it even helps you process the present so much better, and it helps you heal so much better.
Mm.
So going into 2026 again, like, because it's something I'm practicing literally live time, I want to do that even more, because if it can help me in some of the hardest times of my life, you can only imagine what it will do for you when everything's on the up and up, right? So, um, yeah. So, Safia, thank you for being vulnerable with me. It made me come out and want to be courageous and brave with my vulnerability that I lost someone today. Um, but it goes so bad. It goes so hand in hand with the question of, yeah, I want to practice being in presence more and being in the present moment. And I want to continue to build my gratitude every day. I want to get down to the point where um, we teach in AABD, being grateful for breath, being grateful for the fact that you can see, you can wake up, you can see color, right? The fact that you can taste things when you eat it, the fact that you can feel the breeze when you walk outside, the fact that you can walk outside, right? Like, just things, again, that we might take for granted, that you have way more things, I think, in life to be grateful for than to regret.
Mhm.
You just come to expect the things that come every day.
Mhm.
But if you don't live with expectation, you treat every day as a blessing, there's a lot more to be grateful for every day. So that's what I would not only encourage, but I would challenge anyone listening. Just find a couple things to be grateful for every day going into 2026.
I love that. Even make it like a challenge. Like, maybe like one day it's like two things, the next day it's three
Yeah,
things, the
the
next day
next
it's
thing
four
is
things, and
three
you
things, and
just
four things, and five. The next thing
yeah.
you thanking the birds for chirping and the ants for walking, and right.
I love that. Ooh, that's mine is
Yeah, that's
So
percolating.
good.
maybe we do a TikTok challenge. Maybe we could, the three of us can issue a TikTok challenge,
I'm
a
Ooh,
here for
gratitude
it.
challenge.
I'm
Yeah.
yes,
here for it.
love that.
I
I'm
loved all of
here.
that. Sending you so much love, Ariana. Thank you for
Thank you.
showing up with so
I'm
much
very
strength,
blessed.
so much courage. Yes, and look, still pouring into others despite what we're going through. That's what you
Absolutely.
embody today. You embodied that today.
Thank you. Thank you. And listen, it's reciprocal. I lent on the
Hmm.
strength of you two.
Hmm.
So this is what I mean.
Yeah.
When you're around the people who reciprocate the same energy, it's powerful. It feels good, and I could tear up with how happy I am talking to you two. But
Hmm.
it really does just,
Hmm.
man, it's just good to be here, you know? It really is. And
Mhm.
thank you all for sending your prayers. I wholeheartedly receive it. But you guys are definitely a reflection of the principles that I hold so close, which is be
Yeah.
grateful, because think about it. If I would have been in regret and said, Nicolay, I can't make it to the podcast, where would I have been? Or the panel, where would I have been? But I came
Hmm.
here, heard amazing insights, heard the strength from two beautiful women, the insight, the wisdom. And it made me feel more confident in the wisdom that we all share together. So now we can all love the world with the same strength of, wow, this is really impacting people. This really does
Hmm.
set people's life on a better course. But I want
Hmm.
to thank you, ladies, for not only giving me the space and holding the space for me, but allowing me to be vulnerable in that.
Mm. Thank you. You're getting so much
Yes.
love in the chat here, Ariana.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate all of you. I really do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hmm.
Mm. Ah.
All right, Sophia. We're gonna wrap this up with our
Mm.
last. We do have some more. We have some Q&A here at the end. But this is our
Okay.
last official question here for
Hmm.
the panel. So, boundaries you're instilling now as you're bringing in more of that 2026 energy, reality, self.
Hmm. More embodiment. And Ariana said it, embodying what it is that I'm teaching, embodying what it is that I'm reading, what I'm listening to, just really showing up for all of it as fully as I can and letting go of the perfection. Long as I'm excellent, I don't care about perfection.
Mm.
Mhm. Yeah, say that again. Can we run that
Okay.
back?
Yeah.
Let's run that back.
As long as I'm excellent, I don't care about perfection.
That's
Because
crazy. Yes.
Love that.
that's me. That's my excellent. It may not be your perfect, but that's my excellent. And
Mm.
so that's all that I care about. And so fully embodying the practices, the mindsets,
Yeah.
and realizing that some days will be easier than others, but also when I can show up for it fully, it's getting all of me. What is the difference between excellence and perfection?
That's a great
Because
question.
perfection says that it has to be this. There is no room for error.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellence is perspective.
Excellence says
Yeah.
that perspective. Excellence says you can look at something and I can look at something and I'm like, wow. And you can look at it as something and be like,
Mm-hmm.
long as for me is excellent. But for you, it's just, And those two can exist.
Mm-hmm.
But when we include perfection, it says there's no space for error.
It's absolute. Absolutely. It's absolute
Th-
term.
Exactly. It's an absolute term that does not allow for my humanity. And I
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
dare not continue to put that much pressure on my human self with
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
all of my flaws, with all of the demands of life, with all of the capacity to fail. I dare not continue to do that to myself.
Mm.
It's what's driving us to early graves. It's what's making us sick. It's what's breaking us down. And not
Yes.
to say that strive for perfection if that's what you want for you. But when it comes to outside validation that's churning that perfection, that's where we're missing the mark. That's where coach said we're not in our frequency. We're not operating with what God gave us. So how can this situation truly be for me when I'm not being for it who I really am?
Mhm.
Some things you know good and well you ain't perfect in. You know good and well that ain't in your wheelhouse, but you striving for it. You beating yourself up for it to do it. Sometimes you just got to say, that ain't my ministry. But
Mm.
this right here, this I got. I'm
Yeah.
excellent at that. I'm excellent at that. And quit
Mm.
trying to be perfect at something that is just not, that ain't yours.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
never going to be Beyonce, but I'm going to sing my heart out to her in my shower and sound excellent.
Talk about it. Talk about it, girl. Yes,
I'm
sis.
never gonna make a
Yes.
patty pie. I'm never gonna make my grandma's banana cream pie, but I'm gonna make mine and it's gonna
No
be
matter
good
how
and I'm gonna
hard we
eat
try,
it
sis.
no
No
matter
matter how
how
hard
hard
we
we
try.
try.
Right?
But
Mm-hmm.
that's my excellence.
Yes.
And that's enough. And I'm okay with that. And I think that we just have to come to those terms as we relearn, as we unlearn. Because first we got to unlearn. And that was
Yes.
one of the major things that I learned in meditation teacher training. The unlearning is way more difficult than the learning because
Mm-hmm.
we have been conditioned. This is embedded in us throughout generations and it becomes our Achilles heel. Is what we do. But at a certain point, we really have to look at these things and be like, that's not it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is it for me? Then that's when you start to find your light. That's when I started to find my light. That's why I can walk in what it is that I'm teaching people and what it is that I'm telling people, because I have allowed myself to unlearn and come back into alignment with what God, the divine source, has given me. So I know what's coming out of my mouth is real and true for you. I can't teach Amickoleh's message. I can't teach Coach's message. That ain't what God gave me. God gave me what he gave Safia. How dare I try to be them, grasping at their perfection while denying my excellence in my lane? I ain't doing that. Come
Talk
on.
about it.
Come
Talk about it.
on. We making our own selves tired.
Mm.
And we can quote scripture there too. You know, God says try your best. He doesn't say try someone else's best. He says
Mm-mm.
try your best. Your heart will be judged for how you try, the effort you give.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it all comes
Yeah.
down to you. If you say you're trying your best, there's no one else that can judge you for that.
Mm-mm. Nope. And
Man,
I've
talk
done
about
that to other people and seen what that has done to them. And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I expected me from you. I'm
Mm.
sorry.
Mm.
I'm
Child.
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry." And
Mm.
that's where we have to quit. We got to work on ourselves. It's all a process. It's all a matter of being self-aware. And in
Mm-hmm.
what areas of our lives, that's another challenge. Are you demanding for other people to be you? Once again, some of us are 3D, some of us are deep. We need that balance.
Mm-hmm.
But appreciate the efforts that they are putting forth. Allow them to appreciate the efforts that you are putting forth. And so for me, it's embodiment going into 2026, like really embodying what it is that I say that I am
Mm.
fully,
Mm-hmm.
and not being afraid to do it, being excited about it,
Mm.
excited for what it's gonna reveal and lead to and create. And just really just becoming a better teacher, a better guide, really challenging myself, in my teaching style, in my teaching spirit. Like I've always really just wanted to lead a lot of silent classes where we're just literally just meditating in pure silence, no music, no talking, no nothing. And I know that that's a big challenge for a lot of people because we need stimulation in order to keep us engaged. But I love what Coach said about, can you be grateful for what you hear, what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel? And when you can be grateful for those senses, you don't need nothing else
Mm-hmm.
because you truly realize that they are everything. It is allowing you to experience this world. And wow, one day I was in the shower and I kept my eyes closed and I said, what if I was truly blind?
Mm.
And I'm trying to bathe myself and maneuver in this shower. I'm so grateful for my sight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so grateful for my sight. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like coming back to that gratitude for the small things, for the things that you truly take for granted, and you really do have a heightened awareness of it when you're ill or when someone or yourself is close to transitioning. You see it in a whole new way, but we get away from it because we get back into the mundane. But how
Mm-hmm.
can I keep this on the surface of my experience so that it's always something that I'm like, yeah, I ain't taking that for granted. And
Yeah.
so embodiment and gratitude are the top two things for me going into 2026.
Mm. I love that embodiment, gratitude. I was sitting here just taking all of that in. That was so powerful. Just both of you all's responses. So thank you so much for that. And I was like, what am I taking or practicing to prepare for my 2026 or to call more of that energy in? And I was brought back to what you shared, Coach Ariana, around the frequency. And you and I've also had conversations about remembering as a practice. And then that's something that I want to continue to deepen into that energetic muscle memory of the vision of my purpose, of like how I want to move through the world, the impact that I want to have as I'm moving through the world, through all the different modalities, you know, and it's really just figuring out what's the home frequency for this reality that I envision as a whole, and not just these different pieces and parts. And so much of that was reflected in both of y'all's responses, actually. When you brought up the piece about excellence, Safia, that's something I've been dealing with lately and remembering, because it's come up before a couple of years ago, but it was in support of someone else's vision and dream. And so now bringing it back to myself and operating it, what does it look like for me to operate within my own essence of excellence and legacy, even, you know, what is the, how do I want this vision to live on after I transition. And so that's something that I have been in practice with, of what are the ways that I can energetically shift into that frequency of excellence, remember my vision, stay connected to that, you know, and operate in the world with that front of mind, and also learning to normalize the things that I'm calling in, and not pedestalizing any version or any reality or anything like that, but normalizing it, being like, no, I think Safia, you brought up worthiness and deserving, you know, and just realizing, no, if I were truly someone who already had that thing or was already living in that reality, you know, what would I be thinking? How would I be feeling about myself? And so that's why I really have been enjoying playing around with that energy of excellence, and what does it look like to embody that and to walk in the world with that, and with that knowing and that truth. So I just want to say thank you all both for sharing. Yes, Arianna.
And just to pin to the excellent point, because I believe you both defined it beautifully. I just want to let some insight to this, because in therapy, actually, we are taught to look out for words that are extreme words. So always, never. Perfection, a lot of people don't know this as well, but perfection is one of those extreme words we look out for, because
Mm-hmm.
extreme perfection is defined as absolute. And what happens is that you see that people who strive for perfection are ego driven. So it's not the problem that you strive for perfection. It's because it's ego driven. If you don't reach that perfection, it's harder to accept that. And it's harder to give yourself grace for that. We tend to look at studies to where people are striving for excellence, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a humility. And if you know anything about how energy is and how physiological systems work with us and our health, you know that humility battles, and psychology as well, humility battles ego. So when you strive for excellence, you tend to give yourself a range like, oh, I might be a little off here, but that's fine because I'm really great over here. And
Mm-hmm.
people who strive for excellence also often look for teamwork. Because it's like, I acknowledge I'm excellent in some things, but I understand that you're excellent in other things that I might not be excellent at or even good at. But perfection is very all encompassing. It's saying that you have to be the only one you lean on, the one that knows all the answers, the one that understands everything, the one that can't be wrong about something. And because it's so ego driven, it tends to lead to depression. The strive for perfection tends to lead to depression. And it actually, to Safia's point of wanting to vocalize her truth, a lot of people, we call them perfectionists, right? A lot of people who strive for perfection tend to be silenced, tend to be isolated, tend to withdraw within themselves because they don't feel like they're ready. If only they knew, right, that everyone's out here imperfect. So there is no ready for you to be perfect. Just go out as you are. And
Mm-hmm.
in the time and place that you find yourself, people will come. It's not a matter of that. But if you're striving for perfection, which they say never comes, we never become this perfect idea of ourselves. Life happens. It's meant to teach us humility. It's meant to teach us grace for ourselves. Come out into the world and just enjoy it. You're going to spend a lot more time in isolation and solitude, going like, well, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. It's like, didn't you know that little girl was waiting to hear you? You
Mm-hmm.
had the thing she needed to hear right now. And because you were worried about one period or one comma or the one PowerPoint you didn't make, the whole world can miss out on your message. And back to Safia's excellent point, that is the one thing that if God gave you a message, none of our messages are the same. Make sure before you leave that your message is heard. because you
Mm,
deserve to be heard and you deserve to be seen and you deserve to be understood.
mm.
Thank you for
Woo,
that.
man.
Thank you for that. And the only way reason I can say that is because that's what I worked through. That girl, perfection, Safia. So thank you, coach.
Absolutely.
Thank
Listen, you are excellent, Safia. You are excellent. And I really look forward to seeing everything else you do in your school. I am getting your connects right after this. I'm getting everything about you right after this.
Thank you.
you. Oh man, wow. That was thank you, 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 thank you so much. I was so see that's why I was so excited for this conversation today, and this is why, because it's just been so life affirming and life giving. And I want to, before we move over to some of these pre-submitted questions, I also want to ask anyone here live if you have any questions or want to circle back to anything or need any further clarifications or examples or anything like that. Please feel free to either you can come off mute and just share, or you can pop it in the chat. If not, then I will get to our last round of questions here. Let me pull these up. So I sent out a survey to some of the people in my community just to kind of see what some of the challenges and things that they were navigating when it comes to the topic of boundaries. And so I have a few questions here that were submitted. So feel free to kind of like rapid fire style and just share what comes top of mind for you as we go through these. And you guys each have an opportunity to answer. Excuse me. And then again, too, if anyone has any questions live, please feel free to raise your hand or pop them into the chat. We'll still get to your questions as well. So the first question is, how do I stop saying yes when my soul is screaming no? So this is for someone who just, even though they want to say no, they just keep saying, yes, I'll do it, or yes, okay, I'll show up, or I'll go pick up little Joey from school, or whatever. They're always just saying yes.
Definitely, if you're logical, if you're a logical person, I call it cost analysis. Think of what you're giving up by saying yes when you want to say no. Think about what that cost you. If you're more emotional and spiritual, then don't allow that conflict to come. Your spirit is often your intuitive guide and your compass. So if you're saying yes when your spirit is saying no, you could be withholding yourself back from something that you're supposed to be doing. So always tend, and you can always take a pause. You don't have to answer right away. When someone asks you, hey, listen, can you help me with something? Can you do this in the third? Don't feel the world, right? Don't feel in a rush to have to give them an answer. Take a pause. Go within yourself and be like, okay, what am I feeling to do? What am I feeling to do right now? Can I afford? Do I have the capacity to take this on right now? And back to what we were talking earlier in the episode, um, do not worry about people's reaction to you because you cannot control that. So the only thing you can do is show up as yourself. There's nothing different than the person who stayed no and stayed home but was able to be in themselves and the person who said yes but came up half butt because they wasn't feeling it anyway. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So it's just like you rather take some time, take a pause, take a breath, feel yourself out, and if your soul is telling you no, understand that it's for something else. It's not just saying no for no reason. So listen to that voice and be okay with however that person responds to you. Because you know it's not personal and you can't control if they take it personally either.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Safia?
I'm very big on knowing your why. So why are you saying yes? Why do you feel like you need to say yes? Or why do you feel like you can't say no? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's a good starting point. I love what Coach said. Um, but why do you want to say yes? Why do I want to say no? Do I have something going on where I can't do it? Um, is there, yeah, very people pleasing energy. Um, And I mean, sometimes no is a complete sentence. And I think that, we have to remember that. And it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice because going back earlier, we've been so conditioned to put other people before us. And so we want to appease, we want to accommodate, we want to do all the things in order to make sure that everyone else is okay. But it's saying yes to this in the end, are you going to be okay? And if you can say, yeah, I'm good, well, then do it. And if it's no, then don't. But either way, you have the autonomy and the sovereignty to say yes and change your mind. You know what? I know I said yes to that, but actually I can't. Well, why? No is a complete sentence. I'm really and I'm even big on being careful with your I'm sorries. We give out a lot of I'm sorries. I'm sorry, but don't be sorry.
Sure do.
As
It's okay.
far
You don't have to be sorry about it. It's okay because the people that you're talking to, they will understand. And if they do not, that's when you start setting these boundaries we here talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
when people show you who you are, who they are, believe them as opposed to.
hmm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
I love that.
So,
We did get a question here in the chat. So Netta, if you still want to ask your question, I know there was already a question on here about career and work. So
Oh,
from our
sure. This one
yeah.
might cover it. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like, I did not realize I was going to a therapy session today, but this was fantastic. I hope this recording is going to be shared because these just little, I tried to write down the little nuggets of wisdom that you all were dropping, and that's just fantastic. So, once again, thank you for this beautiful conversation. I have been on this journey for myself for a very long time, just kind of aligning to the universe, to higher purpose, all of these things. I'm actually writing a book about the universe right now, too. So some of the stuff you were saying at the quantum level and the metaphysical level, I like marrying those two together. So we can have a separate conversation because that's a dear topic to me, and kind of the bigger existence of it all. And this year I turned 40. I actually had someone who came to my party and actually predicted, she's very spiritual. She predicted that I was going to get laid off from my job, and 2 weeks later it happens. So she gave me like this solar return reading. Anyway, all to say is that ever since then I've been in kind of this flux with my career. But at the time that I was turning 40, I had already put in my mind, like, I'm going to start showing up as unapologetically me, not like in a mean way or in an abrasive way, but just really owning self. And so I was in that space. I ended up working for the Cyber Infrastructure Consortium. And while it was really good work and meaningful work, the workplace was just extremely toxic. And I had gotten to the point where I had applied for and gotten this director position. And very shortly, like months after, I had to walk away from it because, again, that was the only way to set my boundary, was to know that that situation was not serving me. And so since then, and that was summer of this year, since then, I intentionally took a step away from my career to figure out what is it that I really want to do? Like, how do I want to contribute, right, in my time that I have here before, as we say, we transition off to the next. Um, but I know that I've done the work in my personal life and I feel very strong about setting those boundaries. But I know when it comes to work, even though I am finding something that is much more in alignment with who I am and who I want to interact with, I'm still probably going to be put in situations, right, where I'm going to have to, by nature of some workplaces have hierarchies, you're going to have to interact with folks that their frequency is like on a completely different level than yours, and mix in maybe tasks that you maybe don't want to do. Like, there's so much nuance there, and there's kind of an extra forcedness when it comes to the workplace, that I think is, at least for me personally, it's easier for me to set the boundaries that I need to in my personal life and show up in that way. But it's something sometimes switches when you're in a work dynamic, and you're trying to navigate that, especially if you're like, I need to keep this job, like if you're mentally in the space of, I need to keep this job, I just need to keep the peace because I need the income or whatever that looks like. So I didn't know if you had any thoughts or advice for people who are navigating tricky situations or trying to deal with boundaries in that type of kind of, I'm in this situation that I don't want to be in, but I also have to be by nature of how life works. Just thoughts or ideas that you have around navigating that and keeping your energy in that space, even when you're put in situations that are fundamentally not aligned with you.
That was a very excellent question. I worked in corporate America for 15 years. So one thing to give you some hope, I guess, the boss of yesterday is not the boss of today. So what that means is that there's a lot more workplaces in America that are being called out, and CEOs and CFOs and the chief suites are being fired, and they actually have to go through empathy training now. Like there's a lot more emotional and mental awareness that's being shared up in the space because we're learning and we have the autonomy and more sovereignty now more than ever to say that even though I might need this money, I don't need to work for you. And that's just a hope to give you. Because, we first implemented like HR, that's supposed to be the bridge between the bosses and the employees and how they interact with each other and making sure that power dynamic is not toxic. Like you said, the work environment is not toxic. But this is only advice for people who are not money motivated. Amickoleh knows this. I come from an accounting background. If you are financially motivated, usually that motivation for people is the thing that gets them past the toxic workplace, is the thing that gets them past the boss that could be a jerk or the demeaning of their person or anything like that. If you are money driven, that's usually the thing that sends you. The way that it sounds with you, and I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, if you're coming more alignment to who you are as a person and you are not allowing certain people to treat you some type of way because you're coming more into wholeness with yourself, then money is going to be less of a motivating factor, and it's more going to be more so how people reciprocate your piece to you. So I would say that depending on where you find yourself and what motivates you, really understand that if you are motivated by peace and you're motivated by yourself, God in the universe will set up a way and a path for you to be sustainable around people who really appreciate you and people who really admire what you do and appreciate everything you bring to the table. You do not have to settle for mistreatment, and you definitely don't have to settle for chaos.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Oh, I can contribute a lot to that one.
Great.
Oh, yeah, that was really good, Coach. I love it.
Mhm.
You know, I love that you're working on a book.
Yes.
Continue with your own projects. Your job, secondary. Your life, first.
Mhm.
This job is just a resource. Your source, you are always provided for, and you are always in the space to create. I, the job I have now, I know I manifested it. I know I did. But when I tell you it's so toxic, baby, it's so toxic. How I made my peace is I make sure that I do things that fill my cup creatively, entrepreneurially, relationally, outside of this space. And when I am in this space, I utilize it for what it is for, because I do believe that God gave me this job. I have just had to learn how to work smarter within the constraints that I have. But I get the microaggressions, I get the overstepping, I get it all. I'm the only Black woman in leadership in my company. And so I get it all. And so therefore, I had to realize, how do I make this space work for me? I had to make it secondary. And so you have to make it secondary, and you have to focus on the projects that are truly feeding your soul. Like, I'm here now, but look at me on this call with y'all. I ain't thinking about these people. They gonna be okay.
Mhm.
So it's things where you just kind of gotta do what's best for you, but also being my check in with them. This way I'm talking about the code switching. That ain't your real frequency. You don't really care. But at the end of the day, this is our lives. We need income in order to fund our real projects that bring us meaning, that bring us sustenance, that feed our souls. And the more you do that, and you know what I had to learn taking it back to the Bible?
Mm.
God says,
Yeah.
do your work as unto the Lord. That's
Mm.
what the word says. Do
Right.
your work as
Right.
unto the Lord. So
Right.
when I come in here with all that I know that they're going to be throwing at me, my boss is God. Because when
Mm.
it's time for me to go, he going to open a door to the next place I'm going to go to. And they going to have their stuff too. But at least I've gone through what I've needed to go through here in order to grow me and sustain me and mature me as a leader to go to my next place. And when
Mm.
that happens for you, because I'm a true believer in if not when, did I say that right? Yeah,
We're
it's
not.
gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna happen. And
Absolutely.
so you got to maintain that presence. I'm happy. She talked to me crazy. That's fine. I deal with her professionally. But right now, in this moment, it's all good. And you
Mm.
know what you're working on behind the scenes. Let that be your driving force. Because what I've come to find that people in these corporate postures, this is all they have.
Mhm.
Because especially if they're not people of color, because the corporate world is their world. Black people, people of color, we've always had to be resourceful and find other ways to sustain ourselves. That's our superpower. You're
Mm.
not totally dependent upon what this job can give you. You're writing a book, you're doing
Right.
other
Talk
things.
about it. Talk about it.
And so those other things are your true gift that of what is going to get you to wherever your next is. And the more that you get into that, the sooner that will come, because it's like, oh, she's trusting me.
Mhm.
You're in the lion's den, but yet you're putting in the work.
Yes.
You're allowing it to be a part of your fuel. You're allowing it to fuel you to get this book out. Because I got to get out of here from with these people.
Mhm.
And so that's how you win, because we're going to go through it. It sucks. It's so annoying. And it weighs on the spirit. But that's what community is for. That's what connection is for. That's what these conversations are about. You gonna walk back into that office or wherever it is you going next and be like, I'm good. And you gonna set your boundaries, who you need to set them with in order to keep them in. And if they choose to go outside of that, they kept themselves out. That's what this is about. So that's how I believe you handle those type of situations. It doesn't make it easier because you have to go there every day, but you have to fuel yourself and you have to create your own passions outside of it in order to give God something to work with to help you get out of there.
Mm.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Netta?
Oh, that's speaking to my soul. I mean, I fully walked away from that role and I was drawn to, I was like, I'm going to take some time, right, to get the raw manuscript of my book done. And a few years ago, I started getting into beekeeping and I'm very drawn to the energy and the power of bees. So I'm kind of contemplating going back and getting certified in apitherapy. And it just
Oh,
feels very right, even though it's a very uncertain journey that I'm about to be on. It feels very right. So thank you. That really helps.
very good.
Yeah.
Yes, on the
Send me good
romance.
luck. Send me good vibes. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
need
Look at your
it.
You
face. Look
got
at
it.
yourself
You
right here.
got
You are glowing right now. That is what
okay.
this is all about. This is what
Yeah.
that is all about. Yes, it's
Mhm.
uncertain, but look at how
Yes.
happy you are just speaking about it.
Oh yeah.
That is what
Love
this
it.
is.
Yeah.
That's all the truth of this whole life is. Look at how you're glowing. Yes, it will be uncertain, but that's why faith is tested.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Keep
And
walking
bees
it.
are
We're here to
like,
support you. Keep
Yeah.
walking.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And bees are incredible. I
Oh.
from what I know about bees, the only reason why bees try to sting you is because energetically you're operating at a high frequency. Like
Mm.
they're
What?
drawn to people who have a
I
higher
didn't know
frequency.
that.
I've never heard
That's
that.
what I heard.
Oh,
Well, look it
wow.
up. Because I did another a person had a brand where it was all about bees, like she was trying to heal herself with bees, and
Mhm.
she found out that bees were like a high energy insect, for lack of a better term. And so
That
if they're
makes
trying
so
to
much
sting you, it's
sense.
because they're gravitating towards your high frequency. And so the fact that, yeah,
And
check
vibration
it
is their
out.
language. So that makes sense.
Exactly, the vibration. And
Yeah.
in the meditative world, we do the B sound in order to bring people back
Mhm.
to resonance. So yeah,
Mhm.
there's something there. There's
Yeah.
definitely something there.
Yeah, I say it's very powerful to meditate, to be humming. There's
Hmm.
hive huts that you can create. I'm going to build one in my backyard where you breathe in the hive air. It's very medicinal. You can take all the medicines from the hive. So that's what I'm learning about right now. Even venom as a poison is a very strong medicine. And so I want to become a practitioner in that. And they've kind of done some measurements, the like the beat of bees' wings, by the way, which is a society run by women. So we can have a whole conversation about that. So bees are a society run by women, very efficient, very energetic. But it's kind of in line with the heartbeat of the earth. They found like it's a very
Mm.
similar rhythm. So yes, bees have a frequency. And so I've
Yeah.
been on that path and journey, working with them, using their medicines, kind of honoring them in rituals, and
Mm.
even thinking about like the hexagon structure when we talk about the universe. I mean, that shape, right, is like a core
Geometry.
to so many, right? Like in cells, in like in when you put a snowflake under a microscope, all that, you could start to see that hexagonal pattern. And you start to think, well, where did bees get that? You know what I mean? Like it's so efficient, but they're the one insect that's really like creating and bringing that. It's almost like they see this inner world, I think, of the universe and of the earth, and they kind of what they see they bring into this like 3D 4D that we are existing in right now in this journey, but they see something at a much deeper level than we do. They are very powerful. I'm going to stop now because I can go on and on and on
No,
about
I
these,
love it.
but thank you so
I'm looking
much.
forward to that information. I
Yeah,
love
right.
that. Sacred
Isn't it
geometry stuff,
fascinating?
medical physics, quantum physics,
So
that's my
fascinating.
though. But we are here to
Sacred
support you,
geometry.
Mother.
Yeah.
Thank
Hmm.
you. Thank
And
you.
keep
I feel the love.
walking. You look so happy. Just keep walking.
Thank you.
Walk forward.
Yes. And
Mm.
walk forward. Yes. Mhm.
Wow, thank you. And it's exactly 1:11 here on the West Coast as I'm looking at the time. We are 10 minutes or 11 minutes over. So thank you all so much for hanging out to the end. And Peter, thank you so much for joining. And I see Mr. Wilson, and to Tim, who was here earlier, and my old high school or college professor was here earlier, Hope Wallace. Who else is here? I'm missing somebody. Someone, Angela. I'm not sure who.
Angela was
Yeah,
here.
that
Out to
was my
Angela.
guess. Yeah, she's
Yes.
amazing.
And just thank you to everyone who showed up today, to my incredible panelists, Coach Arianna and Safia. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for your wonderful wisdom and medicine and encouragement and insight. I'm so grateful to have been able to have this conversation with you both. And to, of course, everyone who's watching this in the future, which is eventually going to be the present moment. Thank you so much for watching this incredible conversation. There's a whole slew of these. I've been doing this since 2021 or 2022, I believe it is. So this is my fourth year. I think 2021 was my first year, or 2022. No, 2021. One of those two. This is my fourth year, so whatever that number is. And so, yeah, I think just every time I do this every single year, it just reminds me why I love having this discussion and having this conversation. Every time I bring new people on, and it just continues to expand my awareness around boundaries and what that looks like and what it could be. So I think this is why it's so important to just to revisit our boundaries every month, every day, every season, every year, like really just allow ourselves to be in flux. Every day we're growing and evolving. So of course, our boundaries are going to need to shift and grow and evolve as well. So just a little reminder, as you're making your 2025 to 2026 preparation and transition, to bring your boundaries into review, look at some of the relationships and the situationships and the people and the places and the works and the jobs and the clients and the everything, like who's staying and who's going, you know? And so, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for that comment here.
Thank you, Amickoleh, for hosting such a beautiful panel. Thank you for having us. This has been so nourishing. Without this has been, again, just such a safe space. And I'm just so honored and blessed that we are meeting each other on the same frequencies. And there's a lot of us out here. And you just do an amazing job of just building connections and just having people come together. And it's like, wow, like, there are people out here doing the work and understanding and really on, as Safia said, the 4D, 5D, even 6D level of really trying to figure all this out to make sure that we live in harmony and synchronicity. So to anyone watching, if you believe in numerology, 2026 adds up to 10. So don't be surprised if there's some ending of cycles, if you're letting go of things that no longer serve you, it's a completion number. So again, just be ready to enter 2026 with it. If you want to do a brand new you, this is the time to do it. So feel free to reinvent yourself, but always be in alignment with yourself and love on yourself. Yes. And thank you again for having me. Oh, you can find me on YouTube at Already Aligned by Design, where we're currently working on the 11 universal threads of spirituality. So what Tanetta was saying, I also merge metaphysics and quantum physics and all the religions and all the theologies together. I'm a perennialist. So we believe there's one truth to everything, and everyone is just a different expression of that truth. So that series dives into that. It's a passion project of ours. We've been working so hard on it. You can also find me over at Instagram at I am Coach Apparicio. That's IAMCoachApparicio. And that's the same handle for Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.
Yes.
And thank you again, guys, for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. And you, Safia.
Thank you, everyone. This has been fantastic. I have learned so much. Thank you, Coach. This has just been beautiful sharing space with you. I feel like we were just ping-ponging off one another. Everything that we said, it was just so like aligned, and you know, we even have on similar colors. It's like, okay.
Synchronicity, frequency, without even trying.
So in alignment. I love it. But thank you so much for everything. Thank you, Amickoleh, for this beautiful, beautiful opportunity to speak on such an important and life-changing topic. Boundaries are life-changing. They will change your life. And if you're ready for a change, embrace boundaries. Because once again, it's about keeping people in, not putting them out. That is what I have learned. And the more that I have leaned into that awareness, the better my life has gotten. Just very grateful to be here. You know, meeting you was such a pleasure. And once again, thank you for having me. I can be found at safiapulliam.com. It's my first and last name on all channels. Safia Pulliam. My company is Find Your Light, Wellness, and Beauty. And yeah, I'm always hosting events. I will be posting more workouts, more meditations, and just creating more spaces in order to do in-person events where we do mindful movement, getting you back connected to your body. Your body is your sanctuary, your sacred home that you should always feel safe in. And I do my best in supporting you and leading you back to that. Because once you do that, that gives you that strength, that courage to find your light, and just always here to support and love on you, and just to be your sister as we walk through this life, guiding each other home.
Amen, Ashe, and so the fuck it is. Thank you all so much. You all have a beautiful day. Take this medicine and this wisdom into your holiday. Okay, you're gonna be tested. There's gonna be, just be prepared. So just start shoring up those borders now, all the boundaries, everything, So that way you move into your holiday season with protecting your peace, moving into the new year, protecting your peace. Thank you so much. Arianna, did you have something that you want to say?
Yeah, and if you ladies are interested, I think we should challenge the viewers to, isn't it like the 12 days of Christmas or something when they count down? Maybe we should do like a
Yeah.
12 days of gratitude going into 2026.
Okay, the 12 days of gratitude.
And then as it gets closer to the new year, it's like you have to name at least 12 things, going back to your point of every day you have to think of something else.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah. I'll
I guess
issue the
we can
challenge
get
and
started today, right? Or
huh?
into the new year. Yeah, we'll have to see what that date is for the
Yeah.
new year. But I accept that challenge. So anyone else who wants to accept that challenge?
And I'll
Okay,
add you
I'm
guys to
in.
Safia. I'll follow you as soon as we get off the call.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
maybe we can put like a little WhatsApp group or something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All
All right. Y'all have a good
right.
weekend.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye, y'all.